In Turkey, there's a few ways of saying no. You could say hayır or yok or değil, depending on what it is. But there's also another way of doing it. Some people do this, and they're not blowing kisses at you or anything like that. That's just a way of saying no. And some people do that, and then they just raise their head a little bit and raise their eyes a bit as well, their eyebrows. And that's just a different way of saying no. One other culture thing to keep in mind is that it's impolite to show the bottom of your foot. So sometimes when you sit cross-legged, like something like this, they don't like seeing the bottom of your foot because it's kind of a dirty place on your body, and they just don't like seeing that. So just be mindful of that. And also doing the on point emoji, doing that little hand sign, that's offensive to them as well. So yeah, don't do that.
One thing that I absolutely love to do when I was serving in Turkey when it comes to culture, it would be asking people about where they're from, their hometowns, and especially what's famous in their hometowns. Because something I saw about Turkey that was interesting is that every single town or region in Turkey has just something that they were famous about, something that they were known for. And by the time I got to the point where I knew every hometown and I knew what each one was famous for because I'd asked so much, it would be really impressive to Turks when I would talk to them. I would ask them, hey, where are you from? They'd say, oh, I'm from Amasya. And then they'd be like, and then I'd say, oh, Amasya, you have apples from there. And they're like, whoa, you know that. Or, I'm from Kırşehir. And I'm like, oh, you have Ceviz and Pekmez over there. And they'd be like, whoa, how do you know this? This foreigner knows our country really well. It's a really good way to show them that you enjoy their culture, you enjoy their country, and you know where they're from.
There are a few crazy foods in Turkey. One of them is called kokoreç, and that is stuffed sheep's or goat's intestine. And they thoroughly clean it out, but they cook it and they fill it with herbs. And they usually have it on a sandwich, and it's really tasty. So if you don't think about it too hard, then it's really delicious. Another thing that's kind of crazy is called midye, and that's essentially a mussel. And what they do is they get a raw mussel and they stuff it with steaming hot rice. And they sell it on the side of the street, and you put lemon juice on it. And when you put the rice inside, the mussel itself cooks. So it's cooked all the way through, and it's absolutely delicious. So it seems kind of interesting, but both those are actually really yummy. So I definitely suggest trying those two.
So in Turkey, they have, as far as crazy foods, usually has something to do with goats and the not very typical parts that you would eat of a goat, wherever you might be from. For example, and just walking by on the side of the streets, you'll see stores where they have just a goat head there, and you can buy the goat head, brain and all, eat the brain, eat the goat head. It's great. A lot of times they'll also make that into a soup. They've got two different ones where they use interesting goat parts. There's paça çorbası and there's also işkembe çorbası. Both of them have different pieces of the goat's head or stomach or intestines or brain or anything like that. And those soups are actually wonderful. It really depends for foreigners because it's a hit or miss on whether you'll love it or not. I was one of the ones that loved it. Some of the others not quite so.
Turkish food is absolutely incredible. You can't go wrong with any of their kebabs, whether it's chicken or beef or lamb. One of my favorite foods there was karnıyarık, which is a stuffed eggplant, which literally translates to a split stomach. And so what they do is they cook the eggplant and they fill it with some beef and some sauce as well, usually tomato based and oil, and put some spices with it. And it's delicious with a side of pilav, which is the rice they have, and has little bits of orzo pasta in it. And to finish that all off, they like to eat it with something called cacık, which is kind of like a cold soup, but it's yogurt based. It has cucumber and dill, sometimes garlic. They also have Iskandar Kebab, which is slices of lamb meat with bread and butter and tomato sauce and yogurt, and it's absolutely delicious too.
You can't go wrong with any of the kebabs that they have. They have different meat ones or chicken ones. All of them are fantastic. Another one that I always love to get that was like a little lighter but still really good is called lahmacun. It's like, it's quote unquote Turkish pizza. It's nothing like the pizza that you know, but it's so good. It's thin, it got little minced meat and little small minced vegetables as well on it, and you just put lime on it and you eat it, and it's fantastic. Something that I love that's pretty native to Ankara is the famous soslu döner. There's 3 different businesses you can get it from. There's Sere Döner, Donas, and Dois. That is definitely something you need to get before you leave. But probably most of all is a salty yogurt drink that all foreigners will hate the first time, but come to love as they drink it more, and that is called ayran. I wish I could have that every day.